If you've ever done models before, you may be familiar with your standard Games Workshop models such as Space Marines or Orcs or Tyranids or the many different types of 40K models that exist. Something you will not be familiar with is these models. These models, there's probably a very, very small percent of you that actually know where these models came from. That, like, 1-2% of you, good job. You actually have a life. No, I'm kidding. You just know things. So 99% of you probably looked at these models and said, wow, what cool models. Where'd they come from? 1% of you probably said, wow, look at that cool paint job. Yeah, I know. So these models, you'll never guess where they came from. They came from a 3D printer. That's right, everybody. Also, if you would be more familiar if you're in like the hobby and know and are well like versed, I guess. You would be more likely to be familiar with the werewolves. That's not how they were painted, by the guy who made them. Jazza, Tabletop Time, pretty big YouTuber, especially when it comes to minis. This guy is orc. Well, he's not an orc, he's an ogre. You probably are less familiar with. So there is a humongous advantage to 3D printing models. Also, let me just crap out of focus. There we go. Here is a 40K Space Marine. By the way, for size comparison, I printed these way smaller than I was planning on. So, yeah, they were supposed to be much bigger. But as you can see, they're not. So, just move my Space Marine out of the way. Also, do you like my Space Marine paint job? I've never done highlighting, and I didn't do it here. I think it looks nice, grim, and dark. So, also, here's my custom color scheme. Not painted with the English not good today. This one wasn't painted with Citadel paint. This was painted with like apple barrel paint. It still came out good though. It's not like smooth like the Citadel ones, but it's still nice. Anyways, off my high horse for a second. So I'll put links to these creators in the description, and we'll also put Jazza's original video where he painted his werewolves. And focus, please. Where he painted his werewolves. Him and Dave, if I'm correct, from Tabletop Time. So in this, I'll be talking about paints and brushes a little bit, but mostly I'll be talking about models and the advantages of 3D printing and the disadvantages, because there are some, despite what some people may say. So first things, Citadel paints, they're beautiful. I painted these with Citadel paints. They are smooth. I love them. You can't see me holding this right now, but I love these things. Like, the paint is wonderful with it, and really comes out smooth and nice to the feel. Nice to the feel, yep. No, nice to the touch. I've been wanting to make this video for a while, actually, but I haven't gotten my paint, like these two paints right here, I was waiting for, so I could finish doing my paint jobs. So, let's start out with the disadvantages of 3D printing. Let me get my light directly on here and hopefully get it to focus. Crap. Okay, there we go. Just zoom. Okay, now you can see them better. Layer lines. They're there, but if you put it under very, very bright light, at the tips of everything, for the most part, you can see them. Like, they're not super noticeable if you don't have a super bright light on. Oh, wow, I missed a lot of spots. It's kind of sad. Anyways, but, they're not super noticeable if you have, like, if you're not, like, right up in their faces. Oh, crap. and you don't have extremely bright lights directly on them, you can't really see them, but they're there for sure. And they can be frustrating. Sometimes they're more visible, like the ones on the shoulder pad. Those, yeah, they're visible from quite a far distance. The one on the helmet, not so much. Also, my paint job might have gotten a little bit out of the line there. You can also see where I tried to paint in the eyes, but this is just way too small. Anyways, so obviously it's not going to be perfect, but it's pretty close, especially when you compare it to like printers that use heated plastic that are A, kind of dangerous because you know heated plastic, and then B, they have tons of layer lines. Like those require primer that fills in. Well, okay, you should always prime your minis and stuff. I don't because, you know, I'm built different. So those, what I meant to say is those require filler primers, which fill in the gaps. And also sanding sometimes, which can make you lose detail. Why do you think I bought a resin printer? Problem number 2, resin. Okay, so this is a good example because I didn't paint the bottoms. So this is what the color of resin looks like. Also, there's a bunch of dots because that's where the supports were. And I haven't sanded it. I should. But do you see how shiny some of those parts are? That's because it's not fully cured. If you don't have a UV, like, whatever it's called, like, oh yeah, UV curer, you have to put them in the sun. I mean, it's not horrible. That's what I do because I don't have that kind of money. Anyways, this is also kind of a normal or different video from what we normally do. I've never really talked about miniature painting before. Now I have. Anyways, so yeah, that's definitely a problem. Another problem is resin is expensive. Very expensive. Like, you can get a lot of minis out of a lot of resin, believe me, but it's not cheap. In other words, it's way cheaper than buying Games Workshop models. Another disadvantage besides price, curing, and printing lines. Also, the printing lines is a solvable problem. I just lazy and I don't, you know, do what I should. As in print them at different layer thicknesses and everything. I just use the default settings. Crap, what was the other disadvantage that I just thought of? Cool, I forgot. Well, oh, okay, yeah. So something you can do with the Games Workshop models, I chose a bad example, is you can take parts off. You're not supposed to. I do because I paint them separately because it's easier. Here, let me use this one. Since this is not exactly how this Space Marine was supposed to go together, because I don't do things properly. Anyways, you can take off their arms and stuff, which makes it a lot easier to get all the detail you want. Something that you can't do with 3D printed models unless they're like actual models where you put these are actual models, but if they're actually like put together models, you can't take them apart. So obviously you're gonna have like, when you're painting them, let me find a good example. There we go, focus. You're gonna have zoom, paint overflow, as you can see, like, and mess up. Okay, that's a bad example because that's just a human error. There you go. See that white on the pants? That's what I mean. You're gonna get little mess ups and blemishes. Not like that can't be Not like that can't be fixed. Some people just don't have that kind of time. Crap. Touch the sun. They say the sun is not touchable. I've tried multiple times. You cannot touch the sun on iPhones. So, yeah. Anyways, those are the disadvantages. The advantages, there are a lot. A, you can get really awesome custom stuff, as you can see here. Like, look at these. Okay, this is printed way smaller than it's supposed to be, but this was the messed up one. Let me get the non-messed up one. That's another thing. Sometimes when you're printing, you get little like mess ups. I almost said blemishes, but that would have been kind of redundant since I already said it. But you get little mess up areas where it's kind of like fuzzy. The detail kind of gets lost. Okay, there we go. Anyways, there's really great detail on these. I mean, it's awesome. And my camera doesn't want to focus. Oh yeah, I use an iPhone. I don't own a camera. They're expensive. And I mean, look how detailed that is. Focus, not on the paint. Focus, there we go. So, I mean, you can get tons of detail of these things. And these are really small. As you saw next to the Games Workshop models, if you don't know how big those are, there's my finger. Yeah, they're teeny tiny. That doesn't make them bad. It makes them small. And you can make them bigger. That's the best part about it. Crap. Focus. Okay, moving from the models to just... Oh, wait, we're not done with the plus sides. Zoom in a little bit better. Okay, so plus sides. If you buy your models in an actual game shop, good for you. There's none where I live, so I buy them off Amazon and eBay. Yeah, that might take a while, but these, while sure they take hours, it's still quicker unless you got like Amazon 1-day delivery. Like these only took 2 hours to make, which is a very small number compared to what I know is going to be the rest of them. Because I have to print them bigger, because werewolves supposed to be this scale, finger. They're supposed to be 2 parts of finger tall. This is 1 and like a quarter finger tall. So obviously I have to do something about that, make them bigger, which will take longer. Still, as I said, you're getting custom things that don't exist anywhere else. So, I mean, it all depends on what you think, what your personal preferences are. Another plus about them, I was gonna say that thing better not unfocus. Another plus is if you don't like the color scheme that you did. For example, as you can see, these werewolves are different. Let me get the ogre out of here. So these werewolves, they're different colors. At least their cloths are, and then this one doesn't have a wash. This one does. I like the wash much better. So, obviously, as you can see, this one is way more like brown, and this one's more shiny. Or not brown, but like orange. It's still shiny, but not as shiny as I'd like it to be. Anyway, so that's another good thing about the fact that you can change their sizes. If you want to like get a color down, like a color palette, like this blue will never be used again. I'll always use the white with a wash on it because I love how that looks. That's another plus, is that you can print them smaller so you get the color palette down, and then print them at the size you're actually going to use them so that they're bigger, obviously. And then you don't have to like waste too much printing bigger ones or smaller ones or whatever you do. So in other words, it's easier. Easier to get colors down, which is something that that I, at least as a painter, constantly think about. Like this Space Marine, who is a mix of lime, baby blue, and light hitting his eye perfectly to make it shiny, and gray and blacks, was originally supposed to be red, not blue, and the lime green simply didn't exist. It was supposed to be gold. I think that proves my point. I did some experimenting with the baby blue, liked it better. But this is different because, obviously, I mean, you can just paint over, but it takes more time, I guess. Not really. Okay, I'm done. anyways, you can print tests, and then you can have little different versions of it. So, like, you can have your tests, like your prototypes and stuff, I guess. Yeah, sure. Whatever. And then after that, there is the fact that you can print more than one at once. So when I said these took 2 hours, I mean all 3 of these took 2 hours to make. So as you can tell, it's a pretty good process. And you can print multiple at once, which makes it so much more bearable. Another YouTuber that you should check out who did a video kind of similar to like this, but like the things that made him hate 3D printing less, is called Squidmore. I'm sure, once again, if you've ever done Warhammer or models or anything like that, you know Squidmore. And if you don't, you've been living under a rock, just like I have. Anyways, so yeah, now let me just quickly talk about like techniques and everything. This ogre boy, he has areas that have washes, areas that don't have washes. All the bone color was all white. Same thing with the ropes. Those were all white. I just put a wash on them, which changed the color to be more bone. That was, if you want the exact color, it was the Aligrax Earth Shader, however it's pronounced, and then the Corex White for the base. And I put the wash in, obviously. Yeah, let me just quickly go over the colors that I used. So for the blood and red, I used Gal Vorbak red. For the green, I used Death Guard green. For the cloth on this guy and the cloth on this guy, which is way easier to see here because there's not like shadows, I used the Macarange blue. I don't know how to pronounce that. For the black, I used the Abandoned black. I don't think I pronounced it right. I don't really care. As I said for the white, Corex right. As I said for the shade, I used the Aligrax Earth shade. And then for the shiny bits, aka the bronze, I used the Balfestar gold. I don't think I did that right. Also for the bases, and then also the big rock, I used a technical paint, Astro Granite. I like Astro Granite a lot. Something else I'm doing is buying tufts because this is kind of boring without some tufts. I'm also going to buy some little mini rocks, but that can be another video. So, brushes. Size definitely matters. Let me just say that now. Here's a humongous brush. Imagine trying to paint very precise details with this humongous brush that also seems to have problems with its bristles. Cool. I've never even used this brush. Yeah, I've never used this brush because I don't have anything gigantic. I don't need this brush, really. So yeah, if you want like small, minuscule details, use smaller brushes. Brushes that I use, like, frequently are the, let me just get all of, oh, crap. Let me just grab all of them quickly. So I use the 3.0, or the 0.3, the 5. Or the 0.5, the 0.2, the 1, the 0, and then that's pretty much as many as I use. And when I apply my wash or my tactical paint, my Astro Granite, I use the Citadel the Citadel starting brush that came with the Space Marine starter pack. Let me just give you a quick picture of my normal brushes. They are golden maple brushes. They were $16 on Amazon for like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 brushes. I mean, it's not bad. And they're pretty good brushes, so worth buying, if I'd say so myself. Another thing worth buying is Citadel Paint. Sorry for not being in focus. Citadel Paint it's expensive, but it's good paint. Like, compared to like Apple Barrel paint, which is good paint and it has nice colors and everything, but it does not like finish very nicely, as you can see. You can see lines and everything. Here's a Citadel Space Marine. Yeah, definitely, the paint is worth the money. So, yeah, I'll put links to everything I said that I would in the description, as long as I remember. I tend to forget these things. I hope I remember. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was a little bit helpful. But, yeah, I'll put, when I say I put the links, I will put the links for the person who I bought the file from here, from My Mini Factory, which is a great place to buy minis, the files, and print them. Yeah, I'll put the description for these in there, or the links to there. I'll put the links to Tabletop Time and Jazza, Squidmar, and that was everything I said I would, I think. If I forgot something, please tell me in the comments. I forget these things. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Only if you want to. Hit the bell notification. I think I talked about everything I was going to. So, see you guys next time. Peace out. Sheriff Snow Trooper. Bye.